Welcome back. Our next guest is urban food specialist Mark Noyce, and the topic we're here to discuss today is how to create your own edible garden. Welcome, Mark.
Hi Megan, thanks for having me.
So Mark, what are some of the challenges we face in creating our own edible garden?
I grew up on a market garden myself, and I had broad acre farming. I had all the farming tools associated with a big urban farm, and it took a lot of work. But I tell you, when you get into our urban environment where there's a concrete jungle, it's that much harder again to grow your own food at home. So some of the challenges are having the right space, having the right aspects so that you get the right light onto your plants, because let's face it, some plants need a lot more light than others. Lettuce might only need 4 to 5 hours a day, whereas tomatoes and some other sun-loving plants need up to 10 hours a day of sunlight, so they need to be in full sun. So that's a challenge, getting the light and the aspect right, getting your nutrition right for your plants, getting the right nutrients in there, getting a high quality compost or a high quality potting mix. That's very important as well, to keep that nutrition up to feed the plants. We all like to get fed well, so do our plants, and they need to get fed well too, to get the best out of them. Another very important thing to remember is having access to water. Plants like water access all the time. If a plant doesn't get, and especially vegetables, if a plant doesn't get what they need in terms of water access, they go, I'm not going to be around here much longer, so I'm going to go to seed. I'm going to fulfill my life's mission, and I'm going to just go to seed. And we call that bolting, when a vegetable doesn't like its water environment. It gets too stressed. It releases a little hormone that says, hey, go to seed. So getting that water right for your plants, you can either be out there watering all day, you can be out there watering morning, noon and night just to keep that optimal water up to your plants, or you can set your garden up much easier with wicking garden beds, for example.
Mark, what are the benefits of having an edible garden?
The benefits are just enormous in terms of your mental health, in terms of your physical nutrition, in terms of you connecting with your friends and family and your community. So let's have a look at those aspects of an urban edible garden. I love going out to my own garden and knowing where my food comes from, looking at these plants and watching them grow and being part of that, and then understanding exactly what I put into those plants so that I know that I'm getting really fresh, organic produce that is just tasty and nutritious and just fantastic to eat. The benefits also getting involved in knowing where your food comes from, and also communicating with your friends and family that maybe you haven't seen for a while. So let's grow some beetroots. Grow some beetroots and then make some beetroot relish, and in a very small place you can grow 3 kilos of beetroot in 2 months in half a square metre, make a relish that can go to 5 or 6 people in your family, and your friends will love you. And not only that, you're getting so much satisfaction out of growing your own food. You're getting a lot of satisfaction about getting in contact with people that you might not have seen for a while, and you're starting that conversation again. You're increasing your mental health, you're helping others, and then you can give back something to your community as well. On a broader scale, you can grow food for your neighbours, you can get people involved into a community garden, and you can just have an enormous uplifting of self-confidence and community confidence about closing your nutrient loops, reusing water for food, and I'm just rambling on, I shouldn't have said that.
Mark, can I grow the same plant over and over again?
Well, you can, but if you don't do certain things to keep ensuring that the potting mix is fresh, if you don't remove the biomass that's, the root systems, the stem of the plant, for example, you can't just keep planting in the same spot all the time. It's gardening 101. You look at our farmers turn over the soil and they recompost and they re-add nutrient, and they just make sure that the growing media is fresh and optimal after every season that the vegetables come out of. We've got to do the same for our own environment, our own containerised growing in urban environments. So yes, you can, but if you don't refresh your potting mix, if you don't deal with the biomass that's created when a vegetable puts its tremendous root systems down, then you're not going to get the best out of it. And some plants really suck the nutrient out of potting mix. And let's face it, what a plant is doing is it's taking that energy that's in the potting mix and they're converting it into biomass and something yummy that we like to eat. So it's just a big energy transfer. So when that vegetable's done, we've got to put more energy back into the soil. And that's through refreshing the compost, refreshing the potting mix with either nutrient, soluble fertiliser, or some of our green waste. We can actually put our green waste back into the soil to grow more nutritious food.
That's fantastic. So Mark, what's some advice you've got for our audience in creating their own edible garden?
My advice would be to think about what you're going to grow. Think about where you're going to grow it. Think about what you're going to grow it in, and then make a plan. We need to also think about how we're going to manage our vegetable garden, edibles, by getting the right sunlight, getting the right aspect, protecting them from bugs with either netting, protecting them from really harsh conditions like wind through netting and shade cloth, and thinking about crop rotation, thinking about what am I going to plant in the potting mix after my tomatoes come out, and maybe you put onions in there, and then you swap that over after you've reset your nutrition in your potting mix.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thanks so much for that great information, Mark. If you'd like to know more about Mark Noyce and how to create your own edible garden, please go to his webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And that's all for us today, so we'll say bye-bye for now, and we'll see you next week.